watching NewsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra. Addressing a rally in Saharanpur, Prime Minister Modi criticized the Congress Manifesto, asserted that the party has disconnected from the aspirations of modern India, likening its ideology to that of Muslim League during the freedom struggle. He underscored the lack of vision and beneficial policies in today's Congress. Meanwhile, Congress also released its manifesto in Jaipur and slammed the Modi government, questioning its vision and fulfillment of guarantees. Congress leader Mallikarjun Kharge remarked, "We have promised to fulfill 25 guarantees. If our government comes to power, unlike Prime Minister Modi, we do not keep lying. He has given several guarantees, but I want to ask you which guarantee has been completed so far." Additionally, Sonia Gandhi targeted the BJP, advocating for the preservation of democracy. However, the pressing question remains, whose vision for India is better? In fact, let's listen in to what the leaders had said.
में विराजमान हैं, मोदी जी खुद को महान मानकर देश और लोकतंत्र की मर्यादा का चिढ़ारण कर रहे हैं। विपक्षी नेताओं को डराने धमकाने, भाजपा में शामिल कराने के लिए तरह तरह के हथकंडे अपनाए जा रहे हैं। तो भाइयों और बहनों, आज हमारे देश का लोकतंत्र खतरे में है
और जो हमारी 5 न्याय गारंटी है और उसके तहत 25 गारंटी हमने आपको करके देने का वायदा कर रहे हैं। अगर हमारी सरकार आई, निश्चित रूप से हम सभी गारंटी को अमल में लाएंगे। हम कभी झूठ बोलने वालों में नहीं हैं, जैसा कि मोदी झूठ बोलते हैं और हर जगह जाते हैं, कुछ ना कुछ नया झूठ बोल के आते हैं। उन्होंने कितने गारंटी हमसे पहले दिए हैं।
कल कांग्रेस ने जिस तरह का घोषणा पत्र जारी किया है, उससे साबित हो गया है कि आज की कांग्रेस आज के भारत की आशाओं, आकांक्षाओं से पूरी तरह कट चुकी है।
All right, let's talk about this. The attacks and the pot shots that were taken by both the leaders at each other and at each other's parties as well. Savio Rodriguez, BJP leader, joins us on the show. Nikhil Jain, political analyst, is also with us on the broadcast. Advocate Manasvi Thapar, political analyst, with us on the show. Mr. Utpal Kaul, political commentator, Kashmiri Pandit, also joins us on the program. Sumit Peer, political analyst, with us on the show as well. Nikhil, I'll begin with you. Thank you for speaking with NewsX. I hope you can hear me.
Hi.
All right. Well, what do you make of this statement that the Prime Minister has made, that the intention of the Congress party is very analogous, very similar to what the Muslim League had in mind right before partition? He's obviously calling the Congress party as indulging in, like he popularly says, tushtikaran and divisive politics. Please reflect.
Vineet, I don't really understand where and how does the Prime Minister and his speechwriters get all of this. The Muslim League, before independence, wanted a separate Muslim nation. They were never in favor of secularism. The Congress, on the other hand, is one party that is fighting vociferously for a secular India, and that is what the manifesto is also reflecting, that we are not going to discriminate across communities, whether the minorities or the majorities. Of course, if there are any socially discriminated sections or disadvantaged sections, be it on religious basis or caste basis, the Congress is going to engage in affirmative action for them, which was the vision of the constitution makers of this country. However, if there is any party whose agenda is somewhat similar to that of the Muslim League that made Pakistan before independence, that is the BJP, because they are the ones who are looking for a theocratic state. They are the ones who want the rule of the majority. They are the ones who talk about over-interference of a particular religion. Of course, the difference is that the BJP talks of one religion and the Muslim League talks of another religion, but they are the ones going after a theocratic state, whereas the Congress is going after a secular state. It is for all the Congress manifesto is out in public. All your viewers can go through it and see it, that all that the Congress party has been talking about is giving rights to the people, whether it is in the form of welfare measures for people, youth, giving them apprenticeships and increasing the minimum wage and increasing the allocation to Manrega, or whether it is rights in the form of political rights that you're talking about, reservations for OBCs and other sections of the community or other sections of the society that have been historically disadvantaged. How does that compare to the Muslim League? I do not know. And I think the reason that the Prime Minister is making all these statements in public is because he knows that all the bravado of 400 par, 500 par, 600 par, his party is probably not even crossing 200 par, which is why they have
Are you
to
sure
induct
of
in all
that?
these
Nikhil, are you sure of that? I'm just trying to
be sure of that. We need to be very honest. I cannot be sure of that, but that is the only logical conclusion of it all. Because if the BJP was confident that they are crossing the majority mark on their own, they would not be freezing the bank accounts of the largest opposition party. They would not be arresting the top opposition leaders. They would not be inducting the people supposedly the most corrupt, as in the Prime Minister's word, into their party. They would not be stitching up alliances at every nook and corner of the country. All of that, to me and to a lot of people in the country, including Kattar BJP supporters and Kattar Modi samarthaks, that reflects a measure of desperation, which is why the Prime Minister now is feeling the need to, bring in Pakistan and Mussalman and all of this into this election. Let's talk about the real issues that matter to the people: unemployment, inflation, women's security, national security. These are issues that should matter, and not Mussalman, Pakistan, Muslim League, this and that. For heaven's sake, Pakistan is a different country. They have been a different country for 75 goddamn years. They're a country in absolute shambles when it comes to their national security and economy. We as India, or in Prime Minister's word, Naya Bharat, we should be looking forward. We should be looking at making the lives of our citizens better, and just stop taking some sort of a very sadistic solace in the fact that Pakistani people are not having a good life. Honestly, I don't care about the Pakistani people. I care about the Indian people. We should have a good life, be it the Hindus, the Muslims, the upper caste, the low caste, whatever.
Okay.
We should have a good life. That is what the Congress manifesto is about.
All right. Sumit Peep, I want you to categorically and specifically address the issues that Nikhil has brought up. He's saying that the Prime Minister doesn't need to talk about this divisive politics. He doesn't need to talk about the Muslim League. He needs to talk about the problems that Indians currently are facing. One of them, of course, which echoes and ricochets back in a resounding manner, is the issue of unemployment. And secondly, is the issue of inflation as well. Would you deny that this is actually a non-issue? Or do you think this is really something that the people of this country are going to vote upon? Very recently, Sumit, there was also a survey that the more educated you are in India, the less likelihood of you getting a job in the country.
Vinny, thanks for having me on your show. Look, first of all, unemployment is around 7%. Our inflation is less than 5%. And if you look at the CPI index of Prime Minister Modi, compare it with CPI index of any Prime Minister in independent India so far, from Pandit Nehru to Manmohan Singh ji. It is the lowest, it's below 5. It has not happened here. It's the World Bank record. So let's put that aside. Inflation wala masla, 7%. Yeah, it is there. And the number should be ideally a little bit low, but it is there. But it has not gone 13, 15, 18%. So the number has been fluctuating around there. At times in the UPA tenure, it went to 12 and 13%. Point number 2. Point number 3. Now, what is the Honorable Prime Minister doing? He is addressing the Congress manifesto. Tell me, बहुसंख्यकवाद देश के लिए खतरा है. I'm quoting line by line. How is बहुसंख्यकवाद खतरा देश के लिए? If Hindus are uniting, if the Bhagwan Shri Ram temple is built and art, how does the uniting of Hindus become a खतरा for the democracy of the India? Point number 1. अल्पसंख्यकों को उनके right दिए जाएंगे. If there's a अल्पसंख्यक, there's a religious minority, which rights are not given to a religious minority, which I as a majority get? Name me one right, name me 5 rights. I'll apologize on the national TV. Point number 2. Point number 3, the Alpsankyaks or the religious minorities will be given a right to Poshak. Right to Poshak means, are you saying that we will allow them to wear a hijab? So, hijab will get a priority over kitab. That is what you're trying to say. Point number 4, he said, Rahul Gandhi wants to go get triple talaq out. So our Muslim sisters and mothers are happy because triple talaq is gone out. So you want to bring in triple talaq and you want the things like Shabanu, those dark ages and eras to come back. Then you are talking of NTCA. You're talking of NDNRC, and in your foreign policy, you're talking of the war in Gaza and Palestine. How does a war in Gaza, because Muslims are targeted there, how does a war in Gaza affect the Congressman manifesto here? When you bring up such divisive things on the manifesto, the Honorable Prime Minister just addressing those things. I have brought in 4 or 5 points. If you give me another 10 minutes, I can bring in another 10 points, because I understand TV debate, I know I will have 2-3 minutes. So I bring in 5-7 points. So what is wrong in them? Where is the thing? I've given you the statistics for employment. I've given you on the CPI index. I've given you on the on other 5 aspects which was brought out from the Congress manifesto. If this is what Congress is bringing to the table, so as a prime minister, as a leader of the tallest party of the India, he is supposed to give his party's opinion on that. When the Bhajpa is talking of sabka saath, sabka vikas, sabka prayas, you are trying to do this Hindu-Muslim divide. You are trying to divide India into things, and you are talking, we'll do a Jati Janaganna. What is the need of a Jati Janaganna? It's like what Rahul Gandhi said, that I'll do a Jati Janaganna and will tell you which Jati is paying how much of GST. If he has the formula, I don't know what is the Einstein's formula for that, Vineet. Matlab, if I am able to do a Jati Janaganna, I will tell Yadav.
Let me rope in Manasvi into this conversation as well. Yeah, let me also rope in Manasvi into this conversation as well. Manasvi, do you think that the Prime Minister is wrong in comparing the Congress party to the Muslim League?
See, that's a political statement, but when I look at the manifesto, I don't find there is any problem in the manifesto. On the contrary, I would say the manifesto is very well documented. BJP is going to come in power, there is no doubt about it, but this manifesto should not be overlooked. It talks about the Manipur issue, how we can cater to the Manipur state problem. It talks about creating a resolution with the Naga groups. It talks about having 33% reservation for women in CAPF. It talks about 10,000 sports scholarship for the people in sports quota. So it's talking about everything. It's talking about unemployment. It's talking about how do we create an agri-based economy for the farmers. So it is just because it's coming from the Congress, we have to criticize. I don't think that's a valid reason for the Prime Minister to criticize. Yes, when you talk so when it comes to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and BJP, and they're very strong at the Hindu heartland. They're very strong at the when you touch the nerve of Hindu and Muslim, that definitely it is going to be a winning.
Do you think they're going to get 400 par? Do you think they're going to get 400 par?
See, I'm no astrologer about that, but the optics are very well.
No, what do you feel? We all have a feeling, right? When you see a movie, you are like, okay, chalegi, nahi chalegi.
I feel it's going to do better than 2019 for sure, because they are aligned. Though the manifesto of Congress is a good one, I have not gone through the BJP manifesto, but the Congress manifesto, I got a chance to go through it today. So it's a good manifesto. I don't think there's any criticism on the manifesto part of it. They have their own alignment they believe in secular India. That's their belief.
But what about the agenda, Manasvi? What about the agenda of unemployment and inflation that the Congress and the left keeps on pushing and using against the central government? Do you think that is based in fact?
Partially in fact, not completely in fact, and I would not say that it is completely incorrect. Yes, partially they are correct.
But we've always had unemployment, right? Savio, we've always had unemployment, right? Was there a time in our country when there was no unemployment?
Well, Vineet, that's a very good point that you've raised. But let me get into the discussion with a very pertinent point that was raised by both my panelists, Manasvi and Nikhil Jain, and they're both very articulate people. And they talk about secularism and being secular. It's a part of our constitution. However, I have always maintained that the definition of secular, if you were to go down on the road and ask about 100 people, define secular and what is your understanding of secular, 99% of the people will tell you secularism is the acceptance of all religion in matters of governance. And that is what has been taught to us for decades. However, that, my friends, is the wrong definition of secularism. Secularism, in its truest sense and in its clinical definition, is the acceptance of no religion in matters of governance. It means a nation or a government of a nation looks at you irrespective of your religion. It looks at you as a citizen. And therefore, when you use the word secular, saying you're going to appease everyone, that notion itself is wrong and incorrect. What is secularism? True secular is when I look at you as a citizen of this country, irrespective of your caste and creed. I look at you as a citizen, and because you are a citizen, you are to be getting the benefits that the nation wants to give to every single citizen. That's point number one. Point number two is you talk about, divisive politics of the BJP. You're talking about, Modi hasn't really done much. Let me give you very simple points. I don't want to elaborate a lot because that's a part of my book, which Amit Bagaria and I are writing. But let me give you some small figures. During the Congress regime in the UPA time, from 2006 to 2013, toilets were only about 3 crores that were made. Do you know how many are made since December 31st, 2023 in the Narendra Modi government? It's 11.7 crore toilets. That is one of the most endearing things that Prime Minister Modi has done right at the onset of him taking charge of the prime ministership of this country, that he brought back dignity to millions of our women who had to go out in the fields to actually do whatever they should be doing in a toilet. Let's look at another simple statistic. Might not matter to many people because we are urban people, we don't face the trouble. But look at tap connections, okay? If you look at the tap connections that are there, you would roughly see that during the Congress time, there was about maybe 2 crore tap connections that were there. As of now, in the UPA, it's about 13.8 crore tap connections in the NDA, the Narendra Modi government. That's the kind of work that's being done. In fact, poverty elevation, if you look at the United Nations Development Program statistics, they are primarily saying that 24.82 crore people have been lifted out of the multi-dimensional poverty in just 9 years in which the Narendra Modi government has been around. So these are transformational changes. You might want to criticize Narendra Modi politically, and I understand that. That's a part and parcel of your job. But you cannot deny statistics and facts and figures that exist. Yes, unemployment is a concern. But unemployment, when you ask many people, what really is the unemployment are you talking about? And most of them tend to move towards government-based jobs. But please ask yourself today, if you look at what is known as the Provident Fund in companies or in various other organizations, you will see that the number of people taking Provident funds that are there from companies and give it to their employees has risen drastically. Is that not an indication that people are having more jobs, number one? Number two, more than jobs, look at the growth of entrepreneurs in this country. From having only 350 startups during the UPA era, we have 1,17,215 startups now, out of which 100 of them have become unicorns.
Okay,
Look
all right. Okay, let me rope in Mr. Utpal Kaul as well. Mr. Kaul, what do you make of what the Prime Minister said when he said that the Congress can be compared to the Muslim League? Do you think that in basis is true, according to you? Do you think there are remnants or reflections of what the Muslim League wanted, and that can be, in fact, sort of attributed to the Congress party as well, especially with their manifesto?
I totally agree with Modi ji, because I was listening when they were releasing this. I saw it and I was listening what they were saying. And if I close my eyes and listen to what they said and what is their manifesto, it is totally as if it is manifesto of Muslim League. Because they symbolically, they directly and indirectly say whatever Modi ji has done and BJP government has done in last 10 years, they want to change it. And this, they are not addressing it to the people of India. They are not addressing it to the majority of India. All this manifesto is addressed to the Muslims, particularly Muslims. Not even we can say minorities, to Sikhs or the Jains or other community. This manifesto has been written looking at Muslim community only. So we can say that now Congress has changed its stance, and Congress is not even the B team. It is the A team of Muslim League, the way they are doing it sophisticated. and sometimes they do it openly. Now, as Mr. Jain was saying that what this Hindu Musalman and what Pakistan, I have nothing to do with Pakistan. But Utpal Kohl has to do a lot about Pakistan, because it was Pakistan, what they did in Kashmir, nearly 50,000 lives have gone in Kashmir. How they bought terrorists in Kashmir, how they bought these arms and ammunition. And our army and security forces are 24 hours alert. And see now what Modi has done for Kashmir. And what they are now saying, they are saying now we will once again get that Article 370 in Kashmir. And after Article 370 was abrogated, and how much development, 50,000 crores were invested in Kashmir, how the tourism is developed in Kashmir, how things are moving. And
okay, yeah, but we are not talking only about Kashmir here. We are talking about the entire country as well.
And I am telling you that how see the development all over. And when the development is not only for majority community, for Hindus only, Modi government has shown that development is for each and every person. Schools, colleges, roads. These roads are not highways only for Hindus. It is for everyone. When the colleges and universities, when the hospitals are there, when the airports are constructed, 70 airports, new airports, and are these airports only for Hindus? It is for every citizen. So the government,
a lot of us have spoken. I want Nikhil to respond to what all has been said, especially the points that were made by Savio and Sumit. Nikhil.
First of all, Mr. Sumit P said that the right to dress is that they're going to bring back the hijab. It'll be, hijab over kitab. I don't know where does the Congress manifesto say that. They're only talking about everybody's right to dress, their fundamental right being given to them, and not like the BJP government, which would not allow, women in hijab to give exams for God knows what sort of sinister motives that they have against the minority. So that is a no point. Then he talks about the fact that the Congress government wants to bring back triple talaq. I have the entire 48-page manifesto in front of me. I've read through it. I've control F. There is no mention of triple talaq. There is no mention of divorce. There is no mention of Muslims. Of course, there is a mention of preserving the rights of minorities like the rights of every other citizen. But there is absolutely no mention of triple talaq. So that's a nonsense point to make. Then there is a mention about how the Congress party is standing with Gaza. First of all, I'm not quite sure if Sumit P is aware of the facts or not, but first, what is happening in Gaza right now is a humanitarian crisis. When somebody stands with Gaza or Palestine, that is not to stand with the terrorist group Hamas, which carried out a terrorist attack in Israel. But what the Israeli forces are doing in Gaza right now, there is a clampdown from it from across the world. But whether they're right or not, that is not the discussion of the debate. What the Congress manifesto has written is that the Congress will make its foreign policy clear, unlike a departure from the BJP NDA governments, most notably on the ongoing Gaza conflict. The reason the Congress manifesto points that out is because when the conflict first started, ministers of this government at a personal level or on their Twitter accounts were supporting Israel, and that we are supporting Israel, which is not the stand of the Indian diplomatic policy. The stand is to remain neutral between Palestine and Israel. But finally, when the Ministry of External Affairs had to issue a statement on it, they took a neutral stand, as has India's stand always been. This is the problem, that you can't have the Prime Minister taking the stand of one country and then the External Affairs Ministry officially taking the stand of both countries, which is a stand of non-alignment. That is what the Congress is talking about. It is not about the Gaza conflict or Muslims or Hindus or Jews or Israel. So let's not go on that. Then you're talking about how then Savio talked about how secularism is misunderstood in the country. Let me remind him that secularism in India is looked at differently. This is the Indian model of secularism, which is different from the Western construct of secularism. The Western construct was separation of church and state, absolutely no interference of the government in matters of religion. However, the Indian state, the Indian Republic never did that, and it is evident in the constitution itself. Article 48 talks about prevention of cow slaughter. Article 290A talks about the establishment of a Dev Som Fund, which is for the maintenance of Hindu shrines and temples in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, for which the money would be paid from the consolidated funds of the governments of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Article 30 talks about the rights of minorities to administer and establish educational institutions, which, by the way, does not include just religious minorities like the Muslims, but also linguistic minorities. That being said, the Indian model of secularism is to embrace all religions, whether it is a majority religion of Hinduism, whether it is the minority religions of Sikhism, Islam, and other religions. It is not a complete separation. And that is how the Congress party wants to govern this country, as the constitution makers had foreseen this country. And lastly, the last speaker, I'm sorry, I'm not.
Sumit, let Sumit come in now.
Please point out to me one thing that says कि ये Muslim League वाला manifesto. आपने बोल दिया, give me one specific point.
बोलने दीजिए सर, देखिए पहली बात.
Yeah, okay.
First of all, if you are going to look at the manifesto by doing control F, I'm not talking about the words, he said that religious practices and beliefs, whatever were prevalent, will be returned. He mentioned that about a triple talaq. He was referring to triple talaq. That's point number one. What is majoritarianism? Bahusankhyakwad desh ke liye khatra. Can you explain that? Point number three, we don't have to go by the Chacha Nehru's policy or whatever our policy was there. Today, Prime Minister Modi was one of the first world leaders. He said, I support Israel. India has a right to change its foreign policy. Yes, we are for the rights of Palestinians, but we support Israel because the war is again, Israel is fighting Hamas. Israel is not fighting Palestine or Muslims. And if it is not a Jewish versus Muslim conflict, what is happening in Yemen? Why doesn't Rahul Gandhi talk about what is happening in Yemen, where 277,000 kids are killed? Why doesn't he talk about there? Why are you only talking about Palestine? Because you know it's a central issue. It's Jews versus, or it's the Christians versus the Muslims. You want to bring in that. Why aren't you talking of people getting killed in Afghanistan? Why aren't you talking about the people getting killed in the in the Islamic world? You're not talking about that way, because where Muslims are killing Muslims, the dichotomy of our world is that is okay. Nobody talks about them. But if it is any other faith who's fighting with Muslims, it becomes a global issue. Ye wali baat hai. This is what they want to bring it. Why not Yemen? Why not Afghanistan? Why not Syria? Why not Boko Haram? Why not Al Qaeda? Why not ISIS? Why not you're talking about that? Because that is not politically convenient to you. You want to put down Modi by supporting Israel. That is what your whole motive is. Then you are talking about all other things. What is this got to do? Again, is it on the same lines what ex-Prime Minister Manmohan Singh Ji said, that Muslims have the first right on the resource of this country, quote unquote. Manmohan Singh Ji, the ex-Prime Minister of India, he said that. So aren't you going to these lines? And what your manifesto is all about, what are you going to do for the Muslim community in the name of minority? And how
quickly, let's get a point from Manasvi as well. He's been waiting to speak. Manasvi, go ahead.
I feel the manifesto of the Congress has been just looked on the lens from the point of view of what we want to look at on the Muslim League or on the Muslims or on the minorities. But on the reality front of it, if you just do a control F, you will not find the word Muslim there. It talks about religious minorities and how do we protect on the religious minorities. It is not a Muslim League manifesto. I didn't read while the previous senior speakers were talking about it. It's a Muslim League manifesto. It's about Muslims and it's about everything. I didn't do anything. I just did a fact check on the manifesto. The document is around 50 pages. I just did a control F while everyone was speaking. There's no word Muslim there. So I don't know where this idea of this manifesto without reading it is coming out. Yes, we may have problems with Rahul Gandhi.
That's the problem with manifestos, isn't it? We all read them, but most of us are not able to understand them. Unfortunately, we've run out of time as well. Would be thanking all my guests for being a part of this insightful conversation.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.